Hello, my name is Rachel and welcome to my daily check-in. I hope you're having a great day. It's been a long week so far. I'm feeling it. It's definitely been a lot at work. And I am making my hot chocolate. So I say I've quit caffeine. I obviously haven't quit caffeine. If you know, chocolate naturally has some caffeine in it. So, but it's more so that I've quit coffee and tea. But also there, maybe not completely quit. I'll have it sometimes if it's a special occasion. I'm out somewhere or someone has something, or my husband every once in a while makes a latte, but he makes it with mostly decaf for me. I have just found that I did not need a large amount of caffeine, and it didn't really make me feel good. It didn't give me the energy boost that, you know, everyone seems to talk about. And I just didn't always feel good after consuming it, or I just felt not even jittery, but just, I don't know, not good. I know that's not a very descriptive term, but other than just saying, like, when I thought about how my body felt, like, why am I putting this stuff into my body? Supposedly good for you in some ways, but it just didn't feel like it was doing positive things for my body. And I didn't feel that I particularly needed it. I went off caffeine entirely when I was pregnant with both of my daughters, and I was fine. I survived. I didn't even, for either of them, start consuming caffeine, you know, for a long time after both of them were born. And even then I had a very small amount. So I just think naturally I'm lucky that I don't know that anyone really needs caffeine, but I'm lucky that I don't need to consume it to feel like I can function in the morning. I know for some people it's, you know, they can't function until they've had their caffeine. But I was also starting to feel dependent on it in a way. And I don't want to feel dependent on anything in life when it comes to something that I'm putting in my body. So, long intro. So far, I did froth my milk. You can just heat your milk, froth it, or use one of the milk frothers. So I put some in here, and what I've put so far is a little bit of cardamom and black pepper. And those are not necessary items. I just like to add them. They have cellular benefits within your body. I also have maple syrup. You can use brown sugar if you don't have maple syrup. I just prefer the flavor. And I put 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. I do not make this sweet at all. My purpose when I started making this, when I stopped consuming coffee and tea, and the one thing that I really enjoyed with consuming coffee and tea is that bitter flavor in the morning. And that it was the ritual of drinking something warm and having that bitter flavor that I really craved. This cocoa that I'm putting in here is not what's labeled on the container. It's actually Callebaut Extra Brut cocoa with a cocoa fat of 22 to 24%. So it's a very creamy cocoa powder. It's rather pricey, but it's a huge bag. And because I'm just using it for this and I'm really tasting it because it's all I'm tasting, I'm fine with spending the extra money. It's still cheaper than Starbucks. So just gonna go ahead and put it in here. I do, the things that you absolutely need are milk and cocoa powder and some way to mix the two, right? That's where you need to start. And then from there, you can add and adjust. You know, if you generally drink a really sweet coffee, then, you know, I guess you can make this sweeter. But for me, I don't really want to start my morning off with a lot of sugar. The other thing that I sometimes add, I'm not gonna add today, but these are the Ghirardelli Bittersweet chocolate chips. And I do find that if I add like 5 or 6 in the cup with the hot milk, they melt into it really well. And it does give it a little bit more body because this is more chocolate, but also it has lecithin, which is can act as an emulsifier. So I do think it helps to kind of make the body of the cocoa a little bit richer. But again, I don't really find for a day-to-day coffee that it's necessary. The other thing is I do mix some water. So I do part water, part milk, still mostly milk, but and that's just because I don't want to drink something very heavy in the morning. And usually a coffee or a tea, even if you add milk to it, it's still water and cream or milk or whatever. And I added a tiny bit of salt because salt is a flavor enhancer. So I add enough, not that it tastes salty. For me, this is perfect. It's bitter, it's creamy, but not heavy creamy. It's light, it's warm. It's something that I really look forward to. in the morning, and I truly don't feel like I've missed caffeine. And I noticed that with the transition, you know, I expected to have a difficult time going off of having the coffee and tea based caffeine on a daily basis. Because I used to not drink coffee, and then I was starting to drink it more and more and more, and then every day I was having a coffee. So I switched back to having matcha. That's my preferred, and I like just having matcha as a tea, not necessarily as a latte. So a tea meaning just the matcha powder and water mixed together. So I switched back to having that for a few days and then slowly eased back on how much I was having of that. But really after that first week, I switched over to having the cocoa. And I do think because I make it rather strong, I didn't really show how much because I do think that's preferential. I would say at least a tablespoon though, is how much I put into this size mug. And this because I frothed the milk. It's not all milk up to here. It's probably half a mug of milk and water, and then the rest is foam. But I really did not find that I crashed or went through any withdrawals. Maybe that first week after just doing the cocoa, there was definitely the early afternoon time frame where I just felt really tired. But once I got up and moved around or moved on to something else that I was working on, it went away. So I don't know if it was psychosomatic or, you know, I just had to get through that moment. But once I got through that, I really don't miss having it. Every once in a while, I enjoy the flavor of tea, particularly like green tea, jasmine, matcha. So every once in a while, I'll make myself one. And even then, I generally don't even finish that glass because partway through, or that cup, partway through, I just kind of feel like I almost get a type of headache. And it's not a headache, but I feel like pressure in my head. It's not blood pressure. And I don't know, I'm doing a horrible job of explaining it, but I don't know. I just feel like my body's like, nope, you've hit your limit, you're good. So I enjoy it to the point that I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I throw the rest of it away or, you know, share it with my husband or my daughters if they want to have a sip of it. So I invite you to trying something different as well and just evaluating your body's response to caffeine. And if it feels good and it feels good to you, then do it. But if you're like, you know, if you want to explore maybe trying something different, I do think something like this, cocoa has a small amount of caffeine, much, much lower than coffee and even lower than green tea, which has less than coffee. But it also has other, I can't think of the name of them. One starts with like a theo something. Other compounds that not only help to balance the effect of that caffeine, but also act as a kind of support for your cognitive function and for your health. Also, cocoa has magnesium. It has, it's so rich in antioxidants, and there's just so much to it that it's something that I really enjoy, but also, you know, I enjoy knowing that there's the health benefit as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you listening to me ramble on. And, you know, if you haven't yet, please take a minute, like the video, subscribe. Love to have you around to follow me on this journey, and I hope you have a great day.